The following program has been rated GE by the Kenya Film Classification Board. It is therefore suitable for general family viewing.
Hello viewers, welcome to Chungu cha Jamii. I'm your host, Eunice Mugo. Today on the show, we've prepared the topic on wellness and nutrition. Do you know about wellness? Do you have a nutritionist that you visit? Do you have someone who keeps check on your nutrition, on your diet, on your day in, day out meals in regards to balancing your nutrition and wellness? Well, these are some of the things that you're going to discuss today on the show. And with me, I have invited guests who are going to help us to understand more about wellness and nutrition. I'll allow our guests to introduce themselves. Welcome, guests. We'll start with you, Mama.
My name is Jane Wajiru. I am a senior citizen.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome, Jane.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Maureen Wanjiko. I'm an adult and I work with Malkia Nutrition as a digital marketing creator.
Welcome on the show, Maureen.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jessica Wanjiko. I'm a licensed nutritionist and I work with Malkia Nutrition. And thank you, Eunice, for inviting us for this show. We are glad to be here.
Thank you so much for honoring our visit. And today, as just the topic is saying, wellness and nutrition. So Jessica, from your professionalism, you're a licensed nutritionist. And what is nutritionist and why nutrition?
Right, nutrition really pertains to the food you eat, how you eat it, and when you eat it. So basically, because it pertains to the nutrients that we get from the food, be it plant sources or animal sources. So anything you eat, it's food, but when now it's digested and it goes through your digestive system, you get the nutrients. So nutrition pertains to understanding those nutrients, the role they play in your body, how they are absorbed, and how you ought to eat the right food so that you get the right nutrients. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that info. Maybe to understand from your perspective as an elder citizen, Mama, when did you come to learn about nutrition and why did you embrace it?
I would say that I was brought up by a stepmother because I come from a polygamous family. And stepmothers don't treat the children of the other mothers well. My mother was away, so I was at her care for about 8 years. And you know, now with that contempt of a co-wife's child, I used to be given, you know, let me say just githeri. Githeri, sometimes just maize, without beans, and that was my diet. But when I grew up, I came to realize, okay, before then I thought maybe that was not good food because this stepmother of mine was living with a grandchild. A granddaughter. So she used to be given, you know, those, you know, to nices, me githeri only. But when I got to secondary school, I realized after all, even this githeri with those few beans, I'm still okay. So I embraced that kind of food.
So how did you come now to learn more about nutrition and seeing that githeri is not the only meal that you can do with other than being comfortable with it and embracing now the nutritionist routine, the ones that you're being directed by your nutritionist to take?
Well, I was not directed by a nutritionist, but I happened to be a secondary school teacher, biology, chemistry. So now from my biology, I of course now I knew what kind of foods are right and nutritious, and especially the vegetables. And so there I am up to now. From that background, now I know the kind of foods that I need to take that are healthy for me and for my children. Yeah.
That is so wonderful. What about you, Maureen? What is your take on the same? How did you come to adapt the nutrition system of dieting?
What I can say about myself is I grew up back in the village, and in the village we usually eat githeri, ugari sometimes. Rice is very rare. So growing up, I would like from Monday, let's just use an example, from Monday to what? To Saturday, it's either githeri, ugari. Githeri, ugari. And Sunday, if you are lucky, your mom will cook either rice or chapati. So, and it was like that until high school. About nutrition, because I would say I learned about it after high school, after meeting a real nutritionist, the one who introduced to me like githeri is not the only food you can eat. There are others, and githeri also is food. It's not bad as people think. It's bad.
Thank you for that. Jessica, maybe coming back to you. What is the relation between nutrition and wellness?
So, as I had explained and we have heard from the others, the food you consume dictates how your body looks or how their visible outcomes. So, for example, someone who, say, had a lack of certain foods, for example, if she did not take vegetables with her githeri, she would lack some nutrients. If she did not have fruits, she would lack some nutrients in her body. So what nutrition and wellness relate is that if your nutrition is poor, your health outcomes will be poor. That's where we have deficiencies. But on the other side, if your nutrition is good, that's when you also have lifestyle diseases or overnutrition, conditions like obesity, diabetes, overweight, arthritis. Most of these are associated with overnutrition. But okay, arthritis particularly is micronutrient deficiencies. So there are some nutrients that you require in very little amounts. And these ones, when they lack in your diet, the body will try and scoop them from the bones, teeth, anywhere, maybe they are where they are stored. So you find you developed a disease because your body was lacking a certain nutrient. So, of course, when you are having a disease, you are not well. So wellness is directly connected to nutrition because the food you eat dictates your health outcomes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so great. Maureen, maybe you can help to tell us. You've said you came to learn about nutrition after high school. So I can imagine after high school, the kind of eating system that you develop, it's very different. Could you take us through the lifestyle that you had before now, coming to adapt after meeting the nutrition, coming to adapt the nutritious way of living?
Actually, I didn't, it's hard to change your behavior. So changing from what I used to take, what I used to take was most of the times, I didn't used to take my breakfast. I would eat later in the day. When I won't take my breakfast, I won't eat my lunch. And then from there, I will have small portion to say, nikipata kitu kidogo nakula, nikipata kitu kidogo nakula. So by the end of the day, ikifika jioni, kutoka lunch time hadi jioni, nimekula vitu mingi. So, and then coming to meet this, patana na nutritionist and telling me breakfast actually is a very important meal in the morning. It was hard to change, but with time I adapted, and now I never it's very rare to miss my breakfast.
Thank you for that. Maybe Madam Jane, I can come to you. You said that yours was brought about by being a teacher in biology and chemistry. How did that come in? Maybe, was it in your interest for you to study biology and chemistry as a line of professionalism?
Well, not really. Now when you do your the form for exam, now the course you go to do, will be determined by how you performed the various subjects. So I just landed in a biology, chemistry class.
Now, learning all this, how has it been of change and of impact to you as a person?
Okay, it has been okay having that background knowledge of the right foods to eat. It has helped me a lot because, for instance, I have not had any issues with the, people my age are having problems of being overweight. I've not had such issues because, like vegetables, I ensure that it takes the highest percentage of my diet. Yeah, so I have not had any of those, issues of aged people. Because of,
That is so nice. So Jessica, coming back to you, as she has mentioned, having vegetables as the high capacity in her meals. So maybe you can tell us briefly, what are the capacity of a normal plate of a person that one's require?
Okay, describing a normal plate depends again with the age, and it's interesting that our panel is mixed ages. So, for example, what a child eats is different from what a young adult will eat. Someone who is nursing or in that childbearing age, someone who is in their late 50s, and someone who is now, for example, a senior citizen. So it depends. I can just mention now that we are also addressing parents with children at home. They need their plates to have 50% to be carbohydrates because they need a lot of energy. To have a portion that is maybe 25%, which is a type of protein, be it animal protein like meat, chicken, fish, and the like, or plant proteins like beans, kamande, lentils, peas, and kind. But also that plate ought to have vegetables, and that child ought to have a fruit or two in the course of the day. So if it's breakfast, if you're serving breakfast for your child, now that they're at home, you should make sure maybe they're having bread, maybe with butter or honey or jam, and then they have maybe as easy as peanuts and probably a fruit for breakfast. Then make sure also their midday meals are also balanced, or they have a snack. And then again in the afternoon they have a snack, and dinner also a balanced plate. Now moving on from that remains as far as a young adult, because at that point now your body does not require as much energy. So from a young adult, maybe from 25 years, now you can reduce your portions of carbohydrates to 25 or 35%. Of course, saying this plate was subdivided, now this 50% reduce it to as close to 25 as possible, because you don't need as much energy directly from carbohydrates. But you can increase your animal proteins and now your vegetables to take a bigger portion as she has described. And that plate now continues up to your later years. Yeah, yours, from around 25 all the way to 70, if you don't have any pre-existing condition. That is for a normal person. No, you have no diabetes, you are not obese, and you don't have any other disease like any lack. You don't have leukemia, you don't have arthritis or calcium deficiencies, you are okay. So now you can reduce your carbohydrate portion, increase your vegetables, and watch what kind of animal proteins you're having, or proteins that you're having. So that's the normal. But again, this plate is dependent on what kind of work you do. So there are so many aspects that come in. For example, that plate is not ideal for people like now in this setting where you stand for a long period, or where you have your energy, your physical activities are a bit on the higher end, as opposed to someone who sits in the office from 8 to the evening. The only thing they do is probably go to the water dispenser, come back, go for lunch, come back. Their energy energy requirement is low, as opposed to someone who is working in a construction site. So what I described was the most ideal, someone who is healthy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that you mentioned about construction, maybe I can just dwell on you on that perspective.
Yeah.
What is the requirement portion for that person? Okay, not construction really, but rather, for lack of better words, men?
So as I said, there's so many aspects that relate to nutrition and wellness. For example, your needs as a woman are different from our camera crew because they are men. So also your body requirement, your hormones and everything, they play different roles in determining your energy intake. So for someone who is physically active, and they are still normal, they would require more carbohydrates and more proteins. So high calorie, high protein diet. But yet again, you find that you need to regulate it. When you find that now you are kind of gaining weight, you regulate it back to making a diet that is less carbohydrates or carbohydrates that release energy slowly. The yams, the ndomas, probably what she had when she was younger. Nowadays, our food is fast foods, but yet again, the same way they attract diseases just as fast. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You didn't have to shout on that. But well.
The truth, yeah.
Mama, coming now to you. As a senior citizen, growing up from being young to where you are, meals were different from what us as young mothers and young adults feed on currently. So with that transition of maybe from where you now, maybe let's say high school, after high school and now working. Now that you came to learn that balancing of food is of importance once you were a teacher, we relate nutrition to be the food of the rich. How now did you come to transition from that and also doing away with the thought of nutrition is for the rich? Because, well, in most cases when you're being told you have to eat nutrition, you have to see a nutritionist, you have to balance your diet, you have to follow all those things. We associate it with the rich. So what is your take on that from your generation growing with those different kind of meals? How did it help you?
Okay, so I agree that generally people think that the nutritious food are for the rich. But fortunately it has not been the case for me because now me from back then I knew that things like doma, gouache, those kind of foods, they are very good nutrition wise. And not necessarily those things that people, those kind of foods that people think they are for the rich.
Maureen, maybe coming to you, you said growing up in the village, mostly you'd take maybe ugali and githeri. But from where I sit, I think from the village is where you get now the ndumas, the ngwashes and everything. Did you used to appreciate that, or you were saying, this one is not a go, no goes for me?
What I can say for me, actually, to be honest, I didn't like them. The ndomas, the ngwashe, the cassavas, they are there. They are there. And we used to think that bread, those sausages, we wanted those because we thought those are for the rich people, those high-class people. And then now after let's say growing up, and meeting a nutritionist and learning about those lifestyle diseases that are caused by those foods, I started to appreciate what my mom used to give me when I was young.
Wow, that's nice. Jessica, maybe we can, hearing now from you, from your professional perspective, like she has said, growing up from the village, she never used to appreciate eating the roots. But now, associating the rich foods, that's the bread, the sausages, the hams and everything. That is what we call nutritious food. You see? Now, we don't tend to appreciate, because also, well, it's a struggle appreciating eating cassava, eating yams and arrowroots. As in, it's a struggle, really, especially with our generation. Telling someone to eat that for breakfast, for lunch,
It's hard.
it's even rare.
Yeah, that's true, but it's an aspect that we need to unlearn. Like she said, when she was growing up there, she, of course, if you're exposed to, say, like televisions and people are serving bread with butter and they're having sausages and all that, you tend to associate that with the rich man's diet and you crave it. So when you get maybe a salary as a young mother or as a young youth, a young adult, you want to buy those things. And the thing is, they kind of are addictive because they will change the brain, your brain pathways to keep craving them, you know, cravings. You say someone is craving bacon, someone is craving chocolate, because their brain neurons have been rewired to want those particular kind of sugars in that food. So what we are actually trying, the message you're pushing right now to our audience is people ought to go back to the roots, go back to the basics, and eat what, not even my mom, my grandmom ate. The things that were grown in as natural form as possible, that you could harvest directly from the farm, boil them or cook them very slightly, and present them to whoever is there to eat. But now we can also now kind of hype these foods, the ndomas and guashes and everything. You can cook them in a way that is actually enjoyable, not just boiling them. You can air fry, or you can make a stew with them, as opposed to the way we make potato stew. You can make ndoma stew, that is arrowroot, or you can make cassava stew. So we are trying to tell people, or even educate, and go back also to the villages where they know better ways of cooking these foods. It's only that some of the ingredients lack. But if you talk to the people in the villages in different places, they will tell you, oh, you can cook it like this, it's pretty yummy. For example, making cassava ugali or millet ugali. That is something I personally didn't know, even growing up. But if you get someone from, say, Uganda or the Western regions who know how to do the millet ugali or the cassava ugali, and you have them on such a set, and they share that knowledge with that wide audience. That's what we are trying to do, to show people that our foods are not bad, because we have been brainwashed to think that they are associated with poverty. And we crave the food for the rich, which is now directly linked to developing lifestyle diseases. Yeah, for example, because these foods, because they are highly processed, they have sugar additives, they have high calorie, it's easy for you to gain weight when you're consuming them on a regular basis. But for example, for her, when she was growing up, it was a reality to have them. So there's no way she could have gained weight from them. And that's what we ought to do even now. Have them as a special occasion, or maybe once a week. Not every morning breakfast is served with sausages. No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Viewers, I hope you're getting that and writing down notes on the same, because now is when I'm realizing that from the village is where we're having the rich resources, because the arrowroots, the ndomas, the ngwashes, the cassavas are found there. And the foods that we associate with the rich are the ones that are bringing in or introducing the lifestyle diseases. So send in your questions, send in your comments across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. We'll be back shortly.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back, viewers. This is Chungu cha Jamii. Today we are talking about nutrition and wellness. On the show we have a nutritionist, and guests who are helping us to understand the importance and how it has played roles in their families and in their own individual lives. Nutrition is one way to embrace, and it's not the rich lifestyle, but it should be everyone lifestyle. So we'll continue. So Jessica, maybe continuing from where we had left, that I had mentioned before that the village is where we have the rich resources.
True.
Because those foods are found there.
Yeah.
But most of the time is where we say, like you mentioned, it's associated to be the food of the poor. But now, coming to think of it, like you're saying, we should hype those foods right now and educate people to unlearn the mentality that they had before. This is the time that I'm saying the rich families or the rich associated families, they're the one now taking those things. For those who have shambas at home, those are the kind of foods that you find them stocking at home. Well, us on the other side, we want to stock our fridge with all the kind of junk.
Goodies. Yeah, it's interesting to see that, for example, when you visit the villages and you find this rich family, I think it's sarcastic that they bring the processed foods to the villages, but they come back with the raw foods. Yeah, it's not sarcastic or anything, because as she said, it's probably what they wanted because they want to change their diet. But we should be keen to note that that's the current trend, and people make fun about it in the village, in the social media memes. Yeah. You have brought 2 bills of 2 packets of flour, but you're living with chicken, arrowroots, and so all these good things now. So if the rich, or whom we term as enlightened, are coming to our villages and living with gunias of these goodies, isn't it time that we realize they are actually taking the good foods? Because, for example, I stay in Kiambu County, and Ndumas and Gwashes, this is a farming community, they're pretty expensive. You find 3 pieces for 150. And the reason why people are not adopting them as easily is because bread is 50 shillings, and this bread will feed the whole family, right? But those 3 pieces might not even be sufficient. In a way, if you have a big family of 7, they might not serve them satisfactory. They might not satisfy your family members. But somehow, because we have been taught to think bread is good, the kids will eat bread and feel full. But for our time, it's because these foods release energy faster. And I talked about low foods that release energy slowly, like the arrowroots and doma. So if you can convince your household to make an investment now in buying these foods, because, for example, breakfast might cost 150 or 100 shillings more, but you're investing in the long-term health of your kids and your family members. Get my gist? So that you're investing now into the health outcomes of the future health outcomes of your family, as opposed to causing disease in your children now by feeding them with these junk foods. Yeah.
Wow, this is so interesting. Mama, maybe coming to you, what is the advice would you give to a senior citizen like you? Because like where they have mentioned, unlearning what you have learned over time. In most cases, for them, you'll find that they're eating healthy, fine, but not balancing the way it should. So how would you tell, maybe, not necessarily, your fellow senior citizen, and also the younger you, what you didn't know that you would like the younger you to know now?
Come again with that last bit of the
I'm
question.
saying, we want you to talk to a senior citizen like you, the things that they should embrace in terms of nutrition, and the younger version of you who don't know or who don't embrace the nutritious bits. What would you like to have known maybe 30, 40 years before that you wish you had known then that you know now?
Okay. So to the younger people who are in most cases in towns where this junk food is, you know, it's the one which is the main on the market. I would advise them to go back to the roots and start eating those staple foods, gouache, doma, you know, those kind of foods. And to my fellow senior citizens, again, they should not be attracted to the fast foods. They also need to take what they used to take when they were little, and forget about what is in the market, what is attractive to the eyes, and just use those things, the domas, the gouaches, you know, they are the best for their health.
Thank you for that. Maureen, maybe coming to you as a young mother and as a young adult, embracing this culture of nutrition is not easy. From the time you left high school to the time you came to know and to embrace doing nutritious food or living in a nutritious lifestyle, since it's a lifestyle, what are the things you used to do that right now you see it's a waste?
Okay. What I can say, you know, let's say when I'm traveling, like when I'm traveling from home, let's say to town, the first thing I will do, when I find a mayai guy, I will buy a mayai. No, I won't buy a mayai, I will prefer a smoky. And smoky, I think right now is 35. I think back then ilikuwa 35. So that's 35, hiyo ni smoky ya kwanza. By the time nafika town, namaliza shughuli zangu town, at the end of the day unapata nimetumia so na vitu zenye nimekula sijashiba. Like nitakuwa nimekula smoky, nitaenda ninunue sausage, nitaenda well hiyo ni like for me it was a waste. Like I would urge youth kama mimi, you know, ngwashe, let me use an example of ngwashe ama ndoma. Cooking them at home, it's hard because you have to boil them. I see nowadays there are those mamas who cook them at bus station. You can buy and warm it to have for breakfast. And also instead of buying smoky, you can buy a fruit, either an apple, pineapple, but yeah, things like that.
Thank you for that. I'm coming to you, Jessica, from your place of profession. How expensive is it to maintain this kind of diets?
It's actually not expensive. If we did a cost-benefit analysis, even in the short term, it's not expensive. Because, for example, as she said, as Maureen said, buying the sausages and smokies and cake, for example, they are small costs in a way, but if you accumulate them at the end of the day, it's more expensive. Let's do an example. Using them, yeah. So say for her, she doesn't take breakfasts in the house, goes to town, to Nairobi, stops by the smoky guy, uses 35 shillings, and then before they get to the office, they are craving something. So kibandaski near the office place, she will take tea and maybe a piece of cake. That's almost 70 shillings. Yeah, that's her breakfast is coming up to 100 and something. Say for Madam Jenia, she's taken her own cooked tea, probably even without milk at her age. So it was water and tea leaves. They take that even 20 shillings and a piece of ndoma, a piece which is sufficient for her and she won't feel hungry for a long time. It's 50 shillings. So hers is 70, hers is almost 100 plus. She's fuller, she will get hungry within 2 hours. So it's really not expensive to maintain a nutritious diet, and it's even cheaper in the long run. The other myth people think is that organic food is more expensive than conventionally grown food. It's also not true, because if you ask her, the bunch of greens she gets at 30 shillings is the same that she would get from that is organically grown, is the same size that she would get in the normal market. The added value is hers has no pesticide residue. So it's cheaper in the short term and in the long run to go organic and to eat nutritious food.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe taking that direct from Jessica. I don't know, maybe from growing up and now that I'm learning organic and non-organic foods, what are the difference to you now that as a teacher knowing the benefits of all this? And like she's telling us that it's not expensive. How did you come to adapt that? And what's the difference?
Between the organic and grown food.
Non-organic.
In fact, there is a lot of difference, including even the taste. When you taste these vegetables grown and they are sprayed, even the taste will tell you that this food is not, it's not proper. And even when you store them in the fridge, like now a bunch of spinach, which is not organically grown, they turn bad very, very fast. But the organically grown veg or whatever, they can stay for longer in the fridge, yeah, without going bad. So I think these chemicals that are used on them, they have that negative effect. And of course, those chemicals will form residues in your body, leading to the various diseases, especially the cancers.
Wow. How has it been of help to, okay, from when did you start embracing the organic food?
You know, from the time I was small, you know, hakukuwa na those nini.
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. But
so you maintained that all along your life?
Okay, so of late now, you know, you are not back at home. You cannot have control really of what you are eating now. But from Akina Jessica now, I know that there are organic markets. I mean, markets where you just buy organically grown food. Yeah.
Wow. And is it of any much difference from the one that you're having while you are young and now?
The organically grown food, they are the same, like they are the same with those that we used to take back then.
Wow, that's very interesting. Maureen, coming to you, now that you're learning about organic and non-organic foods, what is your take on the same? And do you do organic foods, or you are still trying to grow to that stand of doing non-organic, or doing organic, sorry?
I'm also in the process of growing.
Growing? Wow. How did you come to embrace? Now, yours is on another level. If you're saying growing, that tells me you want to venture into farming as well. Or what do you mean by saying growing?
I meant not like really growing veggies. She's the one who grows. I like learning organic foods.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yet again, it's not hard to grow your own organic food.
I think you'll tell us briefly about that when you come back after the break. Viewers, I hope you're learning as much as I am. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're sending in your question, your comments across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. We'll be back shortly.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back, viewers. This is Chungu cha Jamii. Today we are talking about wellness and nutrition. Before we went on a break, we were talking about organic foods. Do you appreciate organic foods? Do you embrace it? Is it part of your daily routine meals? Well, on the show today, we have a nutritionist who is helping us to understand the importance of doing a nutrition lifestyle and also embracing organic foods and so many things that we are learning today. So continue sending in your question, your comments across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. So Jessica, before we went on a break, you had just mentioned, as Maureen was talking, that it's easy to grow your organic food at home.
Yeah.
Maybe you can demonstrate and maybe show us how easy is it to grow such
Right.
foods at home?
Cool. So it's pretty easy to grow organic food. And actually at Malkia, it's one of the things we do. We do nutrition consultation, but I'm also an organic farmer and a trainer. So there are so many ways you can grow. Allow me to, there's so many ways you can grow your food organically. For example, in such a tumbler, if you went to your local agrovet and asked for something called cocoa pits or pumice, or even you get soil from your shags, you put you drill a hole at the bottom of this tumbler or any other kind of tumbler, like the ones that are used to serve juice in these nice places that are coming up along bus station. You drill just one hole at the bottom. You fill this up with soil or manure or cocoa peat. Cocoa peat is from coconut shavings, the coconut. Or pumice. Pumice is a rock. So the good thing with using this cocoa peat or pumice, they don't, haina ile uchafu yenye watu hawapendi, especially watu wako na tukucha kama hutu. So it won't go into your nails. So it's not soil. Then you put the whatever it is, whether it's soil or cocoa peat, in this tumbler, and you had bought from the soko, say you had bought rosemaries or mints or garlic or spring onion, or no, not even spring onion. The red onion can sprout easily. The reason why they can grow easily in such a cup is because they still have living cells. Yeah, food is living in itself. Of course, when we remove it from the farm, we cook it, we kill them, but you also kill to release the nutrients. So these products you get from the local market can still sprout because they need they get nutrients from the soil and they continue growing. So you can grow in this tumbler. I was saying you can grow a rosemary, a mint, a garlic onion, a red onion, and what else? A ginger, for example. So you take one leaf of rosemary, put it in the soil. You take a leaf of mint, because it's usually a stem, put it in the soil. Take one garlic clove, the bottom part, you put it in the soil. Over time, it will get some leaves. It's so therapeutic to actually grow your own food. You take a red onion, you cut the base, you put that base in the soil. And what was the last thing? A small piece of ginger, as far as it has what we call an eye. You put it in the soil, give them time. Of course, farming takes time. 2 weeks, they will be sprouting. And if you tend to pull it, you'll find it has developed a rooting system. Of course, she can support all this because biology and plant physiology is something she has dealt with. They will develop a rooting system. Of course, you know the rooting system is to get nutrients from this thing, from this soil. You might tell me that it will get depleted over time, but feeding the soil is as easy as watering it. Then some peelings from whatever vegetable waste you have, put a few there. Maybe you peeled a potato, put a few of those peelings. If you peeled a carrot, put a few there. Or someone will tell me it will get fruit flies. Take those peelings, put them in another tumbler. Here now you have different peelings, fruits, fruit covers like bananas. Just chop them into small pieces, put them here, and cover this up with some water. They will release nutrient into that water. Then this water is what you will feed the other plants. Makes sense?
Wow.
Yeah, so there's so many systems of organic farming that you can practice. You can even grow something. I saw someone growing sweet potatoes exclusively with water. So he dipped the sweet potato in a jar, a bigger container, of course, of water, and he just changes out this water every so often, like after 48 hours, he changes the water. Because this water still has nutrients. Yeah, nutrients dissolve in water. So this sweet potato is able to get nutrients that it needs from the water, and then his knowledge is that within 48 hours it will have depleted the nutrients, so he needs to change the water. Again, this water he can still add some, the way I had explained about the other one. You can still add, for example, banana peels, something in that water, so that it releases nutrients for the growing crop.
So let me get this right.
Yeah.
For this one who is growing with water, it's basically water.
Yes.
Is it not going to make the sweet potato go rotten?
No, because it's a controlled environment. The reason why things go bad is because you've put them in a specific place where it cannot access all the nutrients it needs to continue growing. For example, you've put it in the fridge, or you've just put it out there on the countertop without anything to feed it. Because the crop also feeds, and that's how it grows. That's why you grow on soil. But this is what I'm describing, what is called hydroponics. You just make sure that the water somehow has the nutrients that are required. This is in a small scale.
So in a small scale of that, to understand it better. Now I've put my sweet potato on that can. I've put water. After every 48 hours, I just have to drain.
Yes.
The previous one, put fresh water, the same.
Yeah.
I put it there.
And then if you feel like it's not sufficient, it's where now you can use another container. You put your peelings and some water. This you can lock it up, because this will serve as something we call a biofoliar, or foliar is good for the crops. So a container, like a Mkebea, let me not mention brands, any container that you can get in your household, put whatever peelings you've cooked with, top up with water, cover it. The nutrients will leak into the water, and then this water now you use to feed the other crop. So you can actually use this kind of water to grow your sweet potato.
Oh wow!
Yeah, now
so
this is
I can use these
people.
peelings. I can use the peelings to preserve them for the 48 hours, so that when I'm changing this previous one, I'm using that water. Instead of going it to waste.
And you can even grow a rose flower other than having these synthetic ones. You can grow so many things. These things that are done. I also have a YouTube channel as Malkia Nutrition, and we're trying out all these principles because we kind of think it's too weird when we see a rose flower getting roots because it's been wrapped with a banana peel. This banana peel is giving the rose stem the nutrient it requires to continue growing. We forget that food also grows, or rather plants grow. What do they need? The same way we need to nourish our bodies is the same way plants need nourishment. So organic just means your inputs are not chemically processed. That's it. So the same way you farm maize in the farm with potatoes and everything, you can still farm them organically. And for people who don't want to touch soil, you can do it with water.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, help me understand this before I go to the others. In terms of that, when you say the essence is not to use, the essence is not to use the chemicals. Now, from these banana peels, I've bought banana just from the market. Now, how do I know these ones are organic, these ones are non-organic? Because if I go buying, I won't know. Now, will these non-organic foods that are bought from the market, maybe with or without knowledge, and I use them, maybe the pills, to preserve, will they affect?
Not necessarily, because the way you've put it in water, the nutrients are leaking into the water, but not probably not all the bad things. You're getting more of the good content from this banana peel. Of course, now, if you're interested in this kind of growing your own food, you will keep looking out for organic markets where you can get fruits that have been grown organically. So what we are trying to do is along this food chain, we are trying to eliminate any chemical, right? Because chemicals are not bad, but they tend to precipitate or leave residues on a crop. So when you tap now into the organic markets, I mentioned there are organic markets in Kikuyu, along Thika Road, in Kitengela, in Kileleshwa. There are so many organic pop-up markets that have organic food. If someone who is doing this will definitely go and tap into those organic markets. So it means even their peelings and everything probably does not have so many chemicals on them. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Madam Jane, from your knowledge of biology and chemistry, what is your take on the same?
About organic farming?
Yes.
Okay, you know, as she says, the organically grown food, no chemical has been put to them. And you know now when God created the earth, He provided the things that are required to bring continuity of whatever we feed on. So now it is possible now to just use that God-given, provisions that will provide the nutrients required to perpetuate the oncoming, food material organically without using those chemicals. Yeah, and that is what our forefathers used to do. They never used things like fertilizer or chemicals. And that is why those people lived for a long time, because their bodies just take what God knows that it will be good for them.
Maybe this one I could use it. I don't know how it's going to come out, but as a senior citizen, you have seen your fathers, your parents doing organic. And also you have come to see us introducing fertilizers. As a biology chemistry teacher, why do you think the farmers embrace the chemicals to use in plants, well, yet they know they have side effects to the human consumption?
Oh, initially, I don't think they knew there were side effects. I mean, we have just been brainwashed slowly by the developed nations. Yeah, initially they didn't know because of that brainwashing. But I think now people are coming to realize that these things are not good for our health.
Wow.
There was also a need created for the use of these chemicals because factories have come up, industrial factories have come up in the developed nation. Where do they offtake the end product? Yeah.
Wow. Now we are running out of time. Good things, okay, whatever has a start always has an ending. Now that you're winding up, maybe we can take briefly your parting shots on the same, because well, this one is more informative, because I've learned a lot from you. Thank you for coming. And also I believe our viewers have learned much more than I have. And we'll continue with this awareness and teaching people how to embrace nutrition as a lifestyle, and also the organic way of living that I think I should adapt.
The natural way.
What? Starting from you, Maureen, you can give us your parting shot.
Okay, what I can say is, like the way we, let's say, like, let me use the organic, like, see, we learned, how can I say? Okay, the way we learned, like, venye turijizoesha, let me use that word, we can relearn. Okay, that's the word I'm looking for. We can relearn what we learned. If
can unlearn something.
Yeah, you can unlearn some things. Like the way farmers, let me use the farmers. The farmers, they can relearn using chemicals to adapt the organic way of farming and the natural way of living to live a better and healthy life and avoid those lifestyle diseases.
Oh, so thank you. What about you, Mama? What's your parting shot?
My parting shot is that the Bible says that God created this earth and he did not create it to be just, like that. He created it to be inhabited by people. So God has provided the resources we require to grow our food organically so that we can inhabit the earth which he created for us to inhabit to his glory without using those other chemicals made in the industries.
Oh,
Yep.
thank you so much. Jessica?
My parting shot would be we need to revert our ways and consume as minimally processed food as possible. So if we might not be at a position where we can go fully organic right now because some things are still conventionally grown, but let's strive as much as possible to grow our food organically, to consume our food in the right way, in the right portions, in the right manner, because also there are people who eat fast foods, but they also eat them fast, literally eating food fast, depending on their busy work schedules and all those. So if you can eat your food well, eat the right food, and also try and get the right source of that food, hopefully organic, you'll prolong your life, as Madam James said, you'll prolong your life and live a full life. Do you know even the industries are struggling because when someone is ill of a lifestyle disease, they are losing out on work hours. So this is a message that should be embraced by all the stakeholders in our lives, as a mother, as a parent, as a worker, as an employee, as the government. Everyone should embrace it because it is bringing wellness to the whole community at a large scale. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for honoring our call and coming to give us this educative insight on nutrition and wellness. Viewers, I hope you've learned as much as I have. I hope you've taken notes. I hope we've answered all your questions, and we can continue this conversation offline across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. Till next time, have a nice time. Goodbye.